Today's Coach on the Couch is sponsored by Mid-State Technical College. Spring into your future at mstc.edu. Welcome to Coach on the Couch. I'm your host, Jason Zaleski, here at Marshfield Senior High School, talking to Tigers boys basketball coach Chris Fischer. Coach, before we begin, let's just remind the audience, how many years you've been coaching basketball here at Marshfield, and then what keeps you coming back every year?
This is year number 3 for me as the head varsity coach. Prior to that, I was an assistant coach under Coach Scheuer for 3 years, and prior to that, even going way back under Coach Michaels. I love the game of basketball. I love teaching the game of basketball, and I love the school district of Marshfield. I love this school. It's very enjoyable for me. I enjoy competing. I enjoy the process of trying to take the pieces we have and mold them into a cohesive unit, and then competing against the best in our area and the best in the state. That's what I really enjoy. I enjoy that process of watching film, coming up with practice plans, watching growth from beginning of the year to end of the year, and now that it's my 3rd year, we've got a very good coaching staff, incredibly fortunate to have Brian Fravert, Jake Shepler, Josh Roshite, Tanner Boson, all Marshfield graduates, which is very unique. I don't know too many schools around that have all alumni coaching in their program. So now we've got some continuity, and now we're starting to see the growth from year to year. Very enjoyable to me, and I'm really excited about what we could be this year.
Talk about last year's team just a little bit, and then we'll be here to preview this year's team. We said goodbye to 8 seniors last year. What a group that you had last year. A fantastic season, but first, maybe just kind of put final thoughts on those 8 seniors, what they meant to your program.
They've meant a lot to me. Those 8 seniors, they believed in me and believed in us as a coaching staff. We didn't, my first year was just, it seemed like nothing went right for us. And those guys never lost faith in me. And we put in the work, we put in the time and the effort. And last year was a history-making group for us. Conference championships, first outright ever. All 8 of those guys, they found their role and they excelled in it. And they knew that their value wasn't determined by playing time. So we're sad to see them go, but they set the bar pretty high for us, and they made a great impact on our program. And the guys that we caught coming back want to uphold that.
Think about last year, those 8 guys, very exciting. They were fun to watch. The whole team was fun to watch last year. It ended here on this floor in a regional final, but all the memories in between, all the bus trips, all that, any 1 or 2 moments kind of stick out as that's one I'll remember for a long time?
Yeah, and this is probably coach talk. As a coach, you're going to remember your losses a lot more than you do the wins. The loss to Kimberly at home in our regional final, we had the opportunity to host one, which was a big accomplishment. But I still play that game a lot in my mind about things we could have done differently towards the end of that game, because we did have them now down 9 with about 14 minutes to go. And we missed an opportunity. When you look at how that played out, the next game, Kimberly has Nina beat, and Nina beats them at the buzzer, and then they go on to win a state championship. So you can make yourself crazy thinking about how close you actually were. But Brooks's game winner at Eau Claire North. Gavin Fravert's and 1 at Spash. Holding Stevens Point scoreless for the last 5 minutes of that game when we got down 7 points with about 4 or 5 minutes to go. The home playoff game at DC Everest was the loudest I've heard this field house in a long time. Chase Hinson setting the school record, tying the school record at 8 threes. Those are going to stick with me for a long time.
Yeah, like I said, fantastic memories. I had a great time with your team last year. Looking forward to one this year. So let's talk about this year's team and expectations. Guys like me, and I'll put out a preview that'll have you projected as conference champs this year. I know Mark Miller, a friend of ours, has very high thoughts of you. As a matter of fact, he's invited you to his shootout down in Milwaukee. So when you hear things like that and the compliments start coming, how do you accept those but still kind of keep those tucked away, because you still got to play the games?
Yeah, when I thought about this year's team, I think about a quote that Coach Lenlucky Sr. had a while back. When I was fortunate enough to play in his program and coach in his program, he would talk about how important seniors were. And he would always say, very tongue-in-cheek, he would say the only good thing about an underclassman is that one day they'll be a senior. So when we lose 8 seniors but can replace them with 9, we have the opportunity to do something special again. We've been really good over the summer, into the fall, and now into this season, tempering our expectations and talking about the one practice, one game at a time. Last year we had a feeling we could be really good, but nobody was really talking about it. This year we have that same feeling, but now the outside noise is what's changed, right? So we've got to do a good job of trying to block that out and not believing any of that noise and just stay focused on what we're doing every day in practice. And I know it's cliche, but we've got to take that one game at a time mentality. I take it as a strong compliment that we're now getting invited to certain tournaments and certain games and shootouts. Playing in Mark Miller's shootout against a really good Janesville Parker team, and then Brookfield East, who's number 2 in the state. Playing in a Kaukauna shootout against Kimberly, another neutral game court against a high-quality opponent. The fact that we're able to schedule these games says that we're getting our program to a place that really good programs want to play us, because non-conference games can be at a premium. So we're taking that as a high compliment. But we understand, last year we did something new, which is a little bit easier. Being able to maintain that is now the challenge, which is a lot more difficult. So now we've got to prove that we can be consistent in our success.
Especially when it comes to conference play. We'll talk about the Valley Conference here in just a minute, but first, you mentioned the 9 seniors. Obviously, there's got to be leadership in that group, and leadership in other places. What emphasis do you put on these guys on the floor, whether it's your seniors or whoever, to do your work from the bench on the basketball floor?
So, in terms of a leadership standpoint, we've got 2 captains this year. Owen Hansen and Braxton Kurth are going to be our 2 captains. So they're kind of the communication piece, the communication bridge between coach and player. That being said, all 9 seniors have to be the standard of our program. They don't set the standard, they are the standard in terms of academically, behavior-wise, showing up to practice at a prompt time. Because when you look at our side courts right now, we've got 46 kids playing basketball for us this year. We've got JV and a couple of freshman teams. Those kids are always taking a peek over at the wood floor to see how they're responding, see how they're acting. So they have to be the standard in everything that we do. So if we can get those 9 seniors to be the standard, we think we have a pretty good shot at every level to be successful.
Got a sophomore on your team, sharpshooter, got a little bit of sizzle in him. You mentioned Brooks in that Eau Claire North game, a low-scoring game. You mentioned the game here, the playoff game against DC Everest, a high-scoring game. What, as we look now, at least offensively, what will be the trademark of this year's basketball team?
Great question, and I really don't know the answer to that yet because we're trying to find what's going to work best for us. Last year we were really good at getting each other open using screens. Guys like Karsten Fries, Carson Cavernan, those guys were really good screeners, and they got Chase Hinson and Brooks Hinson and Gavin Fravert some shots. And then guys like Luke Lemoyne and Marcus Neve, really good attackers. So we may have to attack a little bit differently than we did last year. In addition to our 9 seniors, we do have Brooks as a sophomore. We also have Landon Lee as a sophomore on our roster. And those 2 guys can be pretty dynamic with the ball, have good quickness and good skill. So we're still going to do our motion offense. We proved that we could play at multiple paces last year. Sometimes you just get in a game that's a grind. Eau Claire North just grinds you out, offensively and defensively. So when they'll take a minute when they have possession of the ball, so when you're on offense, you get the ball back, you can't be quick with your possessions because you don't know when you're going to get it back again. So we feel like we could play multiple different paces. We're going to find out early because tomorrow we have to scrimmage against Nicolet and Oshkosh North. 2 high-quality, high-athletic programs. They play different styles. North will probably play a little 1-3-1. Nicolet's tall and athletic. Might play a little run and jump. So we're going to find out pretty early what we've got.
We've mentioned some names. You've got some written down. As we go through the season, there's always a guy or two that maybe the people outside of your practice weren't expecting or hadn't heard of. Who are one or two of those guys that might take some time to develop, but you think they've got some real potential in this season?
Yeah, so in addition to the guys I've mentioned in Luke and Marcus and Brooks and Landon, Braxton and Owen are our two captains. We've got Sam Everton back, who I'm really excited about because he missed last year. We really could have used his body last year, just in terms from a physical standpoint. He had a great football season. Carson Mattis, Bennett Lang, Jeff Marsh, Ryan Donovan, all guys that have the potential to do something. They all bring something to the table. They all need to bring energy on a consistent basis, but when we get them on the floor, they've got to find where they fit. Is it an offensive spark? Is it a defensive stopper? Simple energy guy, whatever it may be. We had some good participation through the summer. Owen Hansen, he never really got off the ground last year. He broke his collarbone last year in the scrimmage, took a charge, kid landed on him, didn't come back until January, and then you're trying to get him back in. Right. He had big minutes at Spash, made a big bucket when we needed it, and had a really good summer. And the fact that Owen and Braxton are now our captains, we're looking for big things out of them.
I mentioned conference play just a little bit ago, so we'll talk about it now. DC Everest is going to be near the top of the standings, probably has conference championship as a goal on their sheet. You probably do too. How do you go about navigating through what's always just one of the toughest, most physical conferences in the entire state?
One game at a time, one practice at a time. It's the same answer over and over again, but I really don't know how to answer it any other way because every team plays just a little bit differently. DC Everest is very skilled. Coach Drake is going to have those guys ready to play, and I think they're going to be really hungry. Marcus Hall is as good of an offensive force in our state in quite some time. We have not yet found a weakness to his game. Going both directions, 3-level scorer, and then on top of that, kids like the McFarland kid and Preby can stretch the floor and shoot it. Stevens Point and Coach Krull always have a high-quality program with good talent, good skill. Coach Witter is now a Hall of Fame coach. Congratulations to him. So we know what kind of program he's got. Coach Lemons at Wausau West will grind you out if needed. Coach Pieper at Merrill, high-quality guard play coming out of them. Coach Garrett in Wausau East, young, hungry, talented, will play hard and come after you. Every game's a challenge, and we're looking forward to compete, and we're hoping for a good start tomorrow in our scrimmage.
Hey, like I said, Valley Conference basketball is unlike really anything else from top to bottom statewide, I believe anyway. Let's begin to finish this up here. You talked about the crowd you had here in both your playoff games. The DC Everest game, you're exactly right. I mean, the roof blew off this place a couple of times. We would love to have that every game. So I'm going to give you the opportunity here to kind of talk to the people at home why it's so important that you show up at these games and support you and the boys here, because having that type of environment makes a really good team almost unbeatable.
This place is very unique in how it's set up. You know, this place was designed for large crowds. This place was designed to host sectional finals. And when there isn't a lot of people here, it can be a very cavernous type of area where things start to echo and you can hear people talk clearly. We're trying to set up more events at our home games to draw people. We've got a United Way cereal drive coming up December 6th. Of course, we have our parents and our seniors night. We've got a 2010 championship reunion team coming up in January, something that was COVID postponed. We're trying to get our 2010 team back in our field house to create some more excitement and to remember those guys and what they accomplished and what they did. We're trying to get those special events so we can get this place packed. Because if we can get this place packed, this can be the best home court advantage in the state. Because if we can get a couple thousand people there every night cheering for us, tremendous advantage for us.
Yeah, as I was calling that playoff game against DC Everett, hairs were on end the whole game. I mean,
Yeah.
it was really amazing.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Coach, did I leave anything out? Maybe give you the last
You know,
word?
I don't think you did. I'm worried that I might have too, but we're looking forward to a really good year. This is a really good group to coach. They're really fun. I think they're going to be fun to watch. I know they're going to be fun to coach. And I hope to see a lot of fans out there supporting us.
Yeah, so do we. Marshfield Tigers boys basketball coach Chris Fischer. Coach, best of luck this season.
Thanks, Jason. Roll Tigers.